Alrighty then.
Alrighty. You're listening to Dark and Creepy Things.
With Frank and Scout.
Frank and Scout.
Frank and Scout.
Yeah.
What's this, episode 17?
Yep. I believe this is episode 17.
17. We've been doing 17.
Yeah.
That's like 4 months now.
Yeah, and we're nearly up to 300 all-time
300?
800.
I was gonna say, we surpassed 300 ages ago.
800 all-time downloads.
I wonder what's gonna happen when we hit 1,000.
I don't know. We might hit 1,000 by Christmas break.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, for our listeners, we're planning on having a bit of a break while we are actually going on holidays.
Yeah.
/ our honeymoon in December.
For those of you who don't know, we're getting married in less than 2 weeks.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah.
Dark and creepy wedding. Yeah, less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, less than 2 weeks.
You'll be my wife.
And you'll be my husband. Husband.
Lovely.
Saying thank you to our regular patrons.
Yes, Bitten by the Bug.
Francis and
Maya / H-Bomb.
Thanks, Mum.
Thanks, Mum.
Thanks, Mum.
It's Bitten by the Bug.
Bitten by the bug.
Alright, alrighty.
Alrighty, your turn.
My turn. I've got for you a person.
A person?
A person. John Harvey Kellogg. Have you heard of this
Oh,
person?
do you mean the guy who made Kellogg's breakfast cereal?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know about this.
You know he's a creepy bastard?
A creepy bastard. Yeah, I do know. I know why he made Kellogg's. I don't know any more details because he made breakfast cereal to stop people from masturbating.
Oh, partly why.
It's like you give kids your Kellogg's cereal and stop them from being sinners. I don't know.
No, it was. We'll find out more. Let's find out more.
Okay, let's find out more.
John Harvey Kellogg, MD.
He's a medical doctor.
Yeah, February 26, 1852 to December 14, 1943, was an American medical doctor, nutritionist, inventor, health activist, and businessman.
I don't like any of those things smushed together.
I know.
I don't like when you get medical doctor and you smush it with businessman. Nope.
Nutritionist and inventor, yeah.
Nope.
He was the director of the Battle Creek Sanitarium in Battle Creek, Michigan. The sanitarium was founded by members of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. It combined aspects of a European spa, a hydrotherapy institution, a hospital, and a high-class hotel. Kellogg treated both the rich and famous and the poor who could not go to other hospitals.
Okay.
Disagreements with other members of the church led to a major schism within the denomination. Kellogg was disfellowshipped, in quotation marks, disfellowshipped in 1907, but continued to follow many Adventist beliefs and directed the sanitarium until his death in 1943. Kellogg also helped to establish the American Medical Missionary College. The college, founded in 1895, operated until 1910 when it merged with Illinois State University. Cool.
Yeah. Keep going.
You listening?
Keep going. Haven't got to the interesting shit yet.
Kellogg was a major leader in progressive health reform, particularly in the second phase of the clean living movement. He wrote extensively on science and health.
Clean living movement sounds like something that would be like around now. Like it's like the raw vegan shit. Like we're gonna be raw vegans. Like the raw vegan movement, the clean living movement. It sounds very similar.
Let's read on, shall we?
Go on.
His approach to biologic living, in quotation marks,
Biologic living. What?
combined scientific knowledge with Adventist beliefs, promoting health reform, temperance, and sexual abstinence. Kellogg was an early proponent of the new germ theory of disease, and well ahead of his time in relating intestinal flora and the presence of bacteria in the intestines to health and disease. The sanitarium approached treatment in a holistic manner, actively promoting vegetarianism, nutrition, the use of enemas to clear intestinal flora, exercise, sunbathing, hydrotherapy, and abstention from smoking tobacco, drinking alcoholic beverages, and sexual activity. Maybe
Probably.
I am Kellogg.
No! You don't exercise.
Ah, fuck you! What a jerk!
I was gonna. not usually an asshole. I'm sorry. See,
I drink alcohol.
yeah, you do drink alcohol.
Sometimes. I used to not drink alcohol.
Yeah, true. To be honest, though, most of that sounds alright, except for maybe the enemas.
And the enema.
No, not all the time. I don't know anyone who
like
goes, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna have an enema this week."
Well, I grew up with that. And
What, you grow up with someone having an enema every week?
pretty much. And yeah, wait until next month when I have my
Colonoscopy is
and I have
different,
to-
though. It's
yeah.
for a medical procedure. It's not for your health. Quotation marks.
Okay, can I read on?
Yes.
Many of the vegetarian foods that Kellogg developed and offered his patients were publicly marketed. Kellogg is best known today for the invention of the breakfast cereal cornflakes with his brother, Will Keith Kellogg. His creation of the modern breakfast cereal changed the American breakfast landscape forever.
The American breakfast landscape.
That's what quotation marks.
That's funny.
Can you let me read?
I'm sorry, that's just a funny set of words to put together.
Alright, so this is a pretty lengthy article, Wikipedia article, so of course, like as usual, I'll put the link in the episode. John Harvey Kellogg married Ella Evelia Eaton. Eaton.
Eaton.
Yeah.
Eaton.
Yeah.
Eaton is a place in England.
Okay. Yeah, but it's just funny because Kellogg's and Eating. Yeah.
Okay. There's
Eaton.
actually a dessert called Eaton Mess.
Yeah, I know,
E-A-T-O-N.
yeah, I know.
Yes, that's where that name comes from.
Yeah. She was from New York. In 1879, they got married. Kellogg followed Adventist views in favour of celibacy. The couple maintained separate bedrooms and did not have any biological children. However, they were foster parents to 42 children, legally adopting at least 7 of them before Ella died in 1920. The adopted children included Agnes Grace, Elizabeth, John William, Ivoline Maud, Paul Alfred, Robert Moffat, and Newell Carey. In 1937, Kellogg received an honorary degree in Doctor of Public Service from Oglethorpe University.
You know, he fostered
Fostered 42
children.
and legally adopted at least 7 of them.
Wow.
Yeah. Kellogg died on December 14, 1943 in Battle Creek, Michigan. He was buried... I can hear you yawning.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
He was buried in Oak Hill Cemetery in Battle Creek, Michigan. Among others buried there are his parents, his brother W.K. Kellogg, his brother's wife, James White, Ellen G. White, so the White family.
The White family, yep.
Yeah, pushed him into going to medical school.
He wasn't buried with his wife.
No, Ella's not.
Oh, that's sad.
Battle Creek Sanitarium. Kellogg was a Seventh-day Adventist until midlife, really?
Apparently, it must have changed.
And gained fame while being the chief medical officer of the Battle Creek Sanitarium, which was owned and operated by the Seventh-day Adventist Church. The sanitarium was operated based on the church's health principles. Adventists believe in promoting a vegetarian diet, abstinence from alcohol and tobacco, and a regimen of exercise, all of which Kellogg followed. He is remembered as an advocate of vegetarianism and wrote in favour of it even after leaving the Adventist Church. His dietary advice in the late 19th century discouraged meat eating, but not emphatically so. His development of a bland diet was driven in part by the Adventist goal of reducing sexual stimulation. So apparently if you eat a bland diet, you won't want to have sex.
I have heard that. In Buddhist culture, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, creepers, Buddhist culture, I think they avoid things like garlic and onion and alcohol because it stimulates too much energy or something, or it's overstimulating or something to do with that. So yeah, I can understand where that sort of view comes from because it's not the first place I've heard it.
No. Okay, so speaking of sex, Kellogg was especially strong proponent of nuts, which he believed...
I was trying to work out your link to the sex bit there.
Which he believed would save mankind in the face of decreasing food supplies. Though mainly renowned nowadays for his development of cornflakes, Kellogg also invented a process for making peanut butter.
Oh yeah.
And developed healthy granos. How do you granos? Granos biscuit?
Yeah, granos.
Granos? What is
Granos.
that? Granos?
Like granular, grainy?
Okay, granos. biscuits, which became popular as far away as Australia and England.
They don't mean they're digestives, do
Yeah,
they?
probably the digestive biscuits.
Digestive biscuits.
The Battle Creek Sanitarium had its own experimental kitchen. There, Ella Eaton Kellogg, his wife, helped to develop vegetarian foods and supervised, in quotation marks, a school of cookery, which taught classes in food preparation for homemakers. She published a cookbook, Science in the Kitchen.
As you do. Sounds
I
like
thought you were going to get mad about them
Why
calling
would I
it
get-
science in the kitchen.
Because, you know what?
Pardon me.
Cooking and baking is science. I'm not even
Not
joking.
my version of cooking.
I know. Your version is very annoying and inaccurate.
Do I not make amazing food?
You do make amazing food, but fuck, there's a reason why it has half a cup of X and so and
look,
so.
I agree with that for baking purposes. Okay, you definitely need to follow ingredients because that shit is science. For cooking, like, I don't know, savoury food and stuff, or stuff that isn't baking, you need to go with it. You need to feel the food.
Yeah, I can't do that with my chemicals in the lab because
Okay.
I'd die.
Okay, she published a cookbook, Science in the Kitchen, containing hundreds of recipes, along with discussions of nutrition and household and diet management. Some of its inventive vegetarian recipes use food products created at the sanitarium, such as nuttolene, a meat pate made from peanuts. Is that why
Nuttolene.
Is, you know, the sanitariums still make like the
Oh,
sanitarium
sanitarium,
hot
the
dogs,
brand
not dogs.
sanitarium.
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was sort of like the word sanatorium.
Yeah, no, it is like that, the Battle Creek Sanitarium, but then I'm pretty sure, it hasn't actually said here, but don't Sanitarium, they're still a brand name that
Yeah.
make food, including stuff like nuttolene and nut meat.
What's a nuttolene? I've never seen nuttolene
It's the
before.
stuff you get in a tin.
Ah,
Yeah, that stuff, and it's
yep,
like
yep.
a meat pate, but it's made
Yep.
from peanuts, which of course I can't eat.
Yes.
Protose, a combination of nuts and grains, and various types of nut butters. Yeah, Sanitarium.
So maybe that's where the brand sanitarium comes from.
Must be.
Because
Kellogg believed that most disease is alleviated by a change in intestinal flora, that bacteria in the intestines can either help or hinder the body, that pathogenic bacteria produce toxins during the digestion of protein that poison the blood, that a poor diet favours harmful bacteria that can then infect other tissues in the body, that the intestinal flora is changed by diet and is generally changed for the better by a well-balanced vegetarian diet favouring low protein, laxative and high fibre foods. He even recommended various regimens of specific foods designed to heal specific ailments. You got to admit, your body changed quite a bit when you switched from eating meat to vegetarian.
I will admit, yes, it did. I did lose a fair bit of weight. However, it did balance itself back out again. So I
Yeah,
do.
but I think that's other reasons.
No, I don't think so.
I
The
think
body
so.
the body operates on a homeostasis, right? So if you change something dramatically like not eating meat, your body will be out of whack for a while, but then eventually it'll return back to its normal. It'll recalibrate its normal.
Okay.
So while I understand and I do agree with some of that, having a specific diet to say, I don't know, cure a urinary tract infection or something is not going to work. If you've got an infection, you have to treat it with
That's
antibiotics.
like, yeah, people try to tell me to eat certain things or not eat certain things to
Yeah.
cure Crohn's disease.
Yeah.
No.
No. Or then people say, oh, you're depressed, eat more of this. It's like, that's not how that shit works.
Right. Kellogg further believed that natural changes in intestinal flora could be sped up by enemas seeded with favourable bacteria, not
I
flavorable.
thought you were going to say
Flavoured-
flavoured enemas.
Maybe.
Bleh, gross.
He advocated the frequent use of an enema machine.
An enema machine?
I want an enema machine.
An enema.
Machine to cleanse the bowel with several gallons of water.
Several
It's not douching,
gallons.
but for your bum.
It's not douching. Douching's your vagina or your nose.
But
You can douche your nose. You're a douche.
water enemas were followed by the administration of a pint of yogurt.
What?
Half was eaten and the other half was administered by enema. Thus, planting the protective germs where they are most needed and may render most effective service.
I'm not sticking yogurt up my ass.
Do it.
It's not happening.
The yogurt served to replace the intestinal flora of the bowel, creating what Kellogg claimed was a squeaky clean intestine. Sanitarium visitors also engaged in breathing exercises and mealtime marches to promote proper digestion of food throughout the day. That's what we're missing. We need to march after we eat.
Yeah. Well, no, I think it might be before you eat to get the bowels moving, and then after you eat. But
no, you got to do breathing exercises and then march after you eat.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm doing wrong? Is that I'm doing it backwards?
Exactly.
Okay.
Because Kellogg,
But what the fuck? Okay, sorry.
because Kellogg was a staunch supporter of phototherapy, the sanitarium made use of artificial sun baths. Right, it's all about sunning as well. I do like
It's all
a good
about
sunning.
a good little skin cancer.
Yeah, I
Love
do
myself some skin
I
cancer
do
in the
like
morning.
a good sunning. Kellogg was a skilled surgeon who often donated his services to patients at his clinic. Although generally against unnecessary surgery to treat diseases, in his Plain Facts for Old and Young, must be an article he published, he advocated circumcision as a remedy for local uncleanliness, which he thought could lead to unchastity, phimosis, and in small boys, masturbation. He had many notable patients, such as former President William Howard Taft, composer and pianist Percy Grainger, Arctic explorers V. Mill Stephenson and Roald Amundsen, world travelers Richard Halliburton and Lowell Thomas, aviator Amelia Earhart, economist Irving Fisher, Nobel Prize winning playwright George Bernard Shaw, actor and athlete Johnny Weissmuller, founder of the Ford Motor Company Henry Ford, inventor Thomas Edison, and of course he
was friends with Thomas Edison.
African-American activist Sojourner Truth, and actress Sarah Bernhardt. Oh, of course, okay.
That makes so much sense that him and Thomas Edison were buddy-buddy, because Thomas Edison was a prick.
Oh, John Harvey Kellogg developed and marketed a wide variety of vegetarian foods. Many of them were meant to be suitable for an invalid diet, not invalid.
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 Sick.
Not invalid.
Not invalid. You're not invalid.
and were intentionally made easy to chew and to digest. Starchy foods such as grains were ground and baked to promote the conversion of starch into dextrin. Nuts were ground and boiled or steamed. The foods Kellogg developed also tended to be bland. In this, Kellogg followed the teachings of Ellen G. White, one of the whites.
One of the whites, yep.
And Sylvester Graham, who recommended a diet of bland foods to minimise excitement, sexual arousal, and masturbation. Breakfast cereals. Around 1877, John H. Kellogg began experimenting to produce a softer breakfast food, something easy to chew. Maybe he had no teeth.
Probably not.
He developed a dough that was a mixture of wheat, oats, and corn. It was baked at high temperatures for a long period of time to break down or dextrinize starch molecules in the grain. After it cooled, Kellogg broke the bread into crumbs. The cereal was originally marketed under the name Granular. But this led to legal problems with James Caleb Jackson, who already sold a wheat cereal under that name. In 1881, under threat of a lawsuit by Jackson, Kellogg changed the Sanitarium cereal's name, see Sanitarium, a capital S, cereal's name, to granola. It was, instead of granular, it was granola. It was used initially by patients at the sanitarium, but slowly began to build up a following among former patients. In 1890, John formed the Sanitas Food Company to develop and market food products. The Kellogg's were best known for the invention of the famous breakfast cereal cornflakes. The development of the flaked cereal in 1894 has been variously described by those involved. Ella Eaton Kellogg, John Harvey Kellogg, his younger brother Will Keith Kellogg, and other family members. There is considerable disagreement over who was involved in the discovery and the role they played. According to some accounts, Ella suggested rolling out the dough into thin sheets, and John developed a set of rollers for the purpose. According to others, John had the idea in a dream and used equipment in his wife's kitchen to do the rolling. It is generally agreed that upon being called out one night, John Kellogg left a batch of wheat berry dough behind. Rather than throwing it out the next morning, he sent it through the rollers and was surprised to obtain delicate flakes, which could then be baked. Will Kellogg, the brother, was tasked with figuring out what had happened and recreating the process reliably. Ella and Will were often at odds, and their versions of the story tend to minimise or deny each other's involvement, while emphasising their own part in the discovery, of course.
Of course.
The process that Kellogg had discovered, tempering, was to be a fundamental technique of the flake cereal industry. Medical inventions. Although they are less discussed than his food creations, Kellogg designed and improved upon a number of medical devices that were regularly used at the Battle Creek Sanitarium in surgical operations and in treatment modalities, falling under the term physiotherapy, quotation marks.
Okay.
Many of the machines invented by Kellogg were manufactured by the Battle Creek Sanitarium Equipment Company, which was established in 1890. Dr. Kellogg attempted to popularize these treatment methods, including electrotherapy, hydrotherapy, and motor therapy, in his work, The Home Handbook of Domestic Hygiene and Rational Medicine, first published in 1881. As he specialised in certain gynecological surgeries.
He specialised in gynecological surgery. Why? I always get really sus about men who do only gynecological surgery. Like, I understand it must be fascinating, but why?
Particularly hemorrhoidectomies and ovariotomies.
That'll be removal of ovaries,
yes,
won't it?
exactly. And gastrointestinal surgeries. He developed various instruments for these operations. These included specialised hooks and retractors, a heated operating table, and an aseptic drainage tube used in abdominal surgery. So this is a bit of an interesting invention that he had, and kind of odd and a little bit creepy. There is a vibrating chair that Kellogg invented, and apparently he can still go and sit on it. Kellogg invented a vibrating chair used to stimulate vital organs in the lower abdomen. Even today, one can visit the Kellogg Discovery Center in Battle Creek, Michigan. Oh, we gotta go there. And sit on the Kellogg's vibrating chair, which is equipped to mechanically oscillate 20 times per second. Furthermore, Kellogg devised an electrotherapy exercise bed in which a sinusoidal current, is that right?
Yep.
Sinusoidal current that produced muscular contraction could be delivered without pain for 20 minutes and reportedly achieved the stimulation of a brisk 4-mile walk.
That's similar to some of the, like, 80s exercise stuff. You know, once you stand on the board and it wobbles, and it wobbles all your bits, and apparently that's about the same amount of exercise as doing a walk.
Yeah.
Must be on the same principle.
Yeah.
The vibrating chair makes me think of the way doctors used to treat hysteria in women back then.
This does remind me a lot of even the movie Hysteria.
Yeah.
Yeah. Irrigator. In 1936, Kellogg filed a petition for his invention of improvements to an irrigating apparatus particularly adaptable for colonic irrigating, but susceptible of use for other irrigation treatments. End quotation marks. The improved irrigator included features such as measuring the amount of liquid entering and exiting the colon, as well as indicating and regulating the positive pressure of the pumped liquid. At the Battle Creek Sanitarium, these colonic irrigators were often used to shoot gallons of water up a patient's rectum into their colon, sometimes followed by a half-pint yogurt enema to aid in further cleaning. It has been suggested that multiple people would get this treatment at one time.
At one time? Okay, everyone, get in the room. We're all going to do your butt cleaning.
Team bonding.
Oh, yeah, okay. Team bonding exercise. We're all going to get our butts cleaned and then filled with yogurt.
Yeah. But you eat half the yogurt and put the other half in there.
Still, what the fuck?
Right.
Everything else, except for maybe the abstinence bit, sounds pretty much okay.
Yeah, I know.
But wash out your butt and fill it with yogurt? Like, what the fuck?
Alright, so the article goes on to more about his views on health, so biologic living. Yeah, his belief was that, in quotation marks, tobacco has not a single redeeming feature and is one of the most deadly of all the many poisonous plants known to the botanist. Like, he knew that back then. Like, that's pretty
but
amazing.
you'd be surprised. Like, people like Nikola Tesla knew back then that, I mean, Nikola Tesla was all about wireless electricity, but he knew the ability for these things to change the world. People know this shit, but they just don't get acknowledged for it until later when we look back and go, oh yeah, they already knew that.
Yeah, but it's really interesting, I guess, from how I study, like, media and social culture and all that kind of stuff, and how it was, tobacco was massively advertised and promoted in the 40s and 50s and even, 60s, even by doctors, right? And then in this book that Kellogg wrote in 1922, right before, like, all the advertising for it, Tobaccoism, or How Tobacco Kills. Like, Kellogg cited many studies on the negative impacts of smoking.
You got to remember though, especially back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, the economy was the most important thing.
Oh, I know.
Because it was post-war, it was Vietnam War. You got to remember back then, if you could boost the economy in any way, you would do it. And if that means selling tobacco to people and using doctors to get that to happen...
That's the dirty part about it, though, isn't it?
They're going to do that.
Doctors to then, to do...
But think about how much money the doctors would be getting for that, though.
I know.
I'm not sold on Kellogg and his yogurt enemas.
I don't know. I haven't tried it.
Please don't put yogurt up your butt.
If
I'm not into that.
Intolerant, like...
That would kill you. It wouldn't kill you.
No, it'd make me pretty sick.
Yeah, you would. You'll just shit it back out again straight away.
Probably. Yeah. No. Oh, this isn't... No. Kellogg also opposed tea and coffee due to the caffeine content of those beverages.
It's a similar thing to the alcohol, though.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
His view was that caffeine was a poison.
He's not wrong.
Is it a poison?
I mean, you don't really...
I need it.
It's a drug.
It is a drug. Kellogg's view was that nature has supplied us with pure water, with a great variety of fruit juices, and wholesome and harmless flavours quite sufficient to meet all our needs. Fuck you, I'm drinking coffee.
Though they do say that an apple will wake you up better than a cup of coffee will.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, yeah.
An apple will wake you up faster. Yeah, nah.
There
must be something else in coffee that we're addicted to, though, because if we knew...
caffeine.
No, but if there's caffeine and stuff like apples and stuff...
There's not caffeine in apples.
There is.
No, there's not.
Okay.
There's no caffeine in
then why does an apple wake you up
Look
more?
it up. There's something else that... Look it up now. There's something else that wakes you up in apples, and it might even be just the fact that you're eating, and it stimulates your metabolism. Like, did you work out what...
Apparently it's because of the amount of sugar.
The
amount of sugar that apples have in them naturally, as well as the amount of vitamins that apples have in their skin.
Right.
So, it's not caffeine.
The whole chewing action as well.
Yeah, it stimulates your gut.
Yeah.
The action of chewing stimulates your gut to do stuff.
Exactly.
Which is why if you chew too much gum, it becomes a laxative.
Yes.
Because your body's expecting there to be food, and there isn't any.
Yeah. Views on sexuality, what you've been waiting for.
Oh, give me the creepy shit.
Yeah.
Do it.
Both as a doctor and an Adventist, Kellogg was an advocate of sexual abstinence. As a physician, Kellogg was well aware of the damaging impact of sexually transmissible diseases such as syphilis, which was incurable before the 1910s. Kellogg devoted large amounts of his educational and medical work to discouraging sexual activity on the basis of dangers both scientifically understood at the time, as in sexually transmissible diseases, and those taught by the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Kellogg was an adherent of the teachings of Alan G. White and Sylvester Graham. Graham, who inspired the creation of the graham cracker, advocated keeping the diet plain to prevent sexual arousal. Kellogg's work on diet was influenced by the belief that a plain and healthy diet with only 2 meals a day, that's awful, would reduce sexual feelings. Those experiencing temptation were to avoid stimulating food and drinks and eat very little meat, if any.
It avoids sexual temptation because you're so fucking hungry all the time. I can't think about sex. I'm so hungry.
And not to mention not having caffeine and you don't want to have sex, you just want to kill people instead.
Yeah, and not to mention the fact that because you haven't eaten, you have no fucking energy to have sex, and all you can do is think about is food because you're so fucking hungry. Like,
Yeah.
fuck sex right now. I just
Yeah.
want pizza.
Literally, yeah. Warfare with passion. This is in quotation work.
Warfare with passion.
Kellogg warned that many types of sexual activity, including excesses that couples could be guilty of within marriage, were against nature and therefore extremely unhealthy. He drew on the warnings of William Acton and expressed support for the work of his contemporary Anthony Comstock. He appears to have followed his own advice. It is believed that his own marriage was never consummated. Kellogg was an especially zealous campaigner against masturbation. This was an orthodox view at the time, especially during the earlier part of his lifetime. Kellogg was able to draw upon many medical sources' claims, such as neither the plague, nor war, nor smallpox, nor similar diseases have produced results so disastrous to humanity as the pernicious habit of onanism.
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 Is that what they called it back then?
Is that what they called what?
Masturbation.
Is it?
What does that word mean?
Yeah, it is masturbation.
Yeah.
Correct.
Onanism.
Onanism.
How do you spell that?
Onanism. Onanism. And you click on it and it takes you directly to the masturbation link
Yeah.
for Wikipedia. Credited to one Dr. Adam Clark. Kellogg strongly warned against the habit in his own words, claiming of masturbation-related deaths.
What?
Oh, that makes for another good article, doesn't it?
Masturbation-related deaths.
Such as a victim literally dies by his own hand, among other condemnations. He felt
Condemnation.
He felt that masturbation destroyed not only physical and mental health, but moral health as well. Kellogg also believed the practice of this solitary vice, quotation marks,
Solitary vice.
caused cancer of the womb, urinary diseases. Fred's face is hilarious right now. This solitary vice caused cancer of the womb, urinary diseases, nocturnal emissions, impotence, epilepsy, insanity, and mental and physical debility. Dimness of vision was only briefly mentioned. That's in quotes, dimness of vision.
Yeah, because people say, don't masturbate too much, it'll make you blind.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you blind. But it sounds like the whole wandering womb thing again.
Yeah.
You know, because, like, who said that, the wandering womb thing?
I don't know what that is.
So, people used to think that the reason women were hysteric was because they had a wandering womb.
Have you seen the movie Hysteria?
No.
Oh, you gotta see it. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, but, like, the whole, like, hysteria thing is because your womb was wandering around.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Kellogg thought that masturbation was the worst evil one could commit. He often referred to it as self-abuse.
What?
Yeah. Okay, so then we
This
go.
guy never had it, like...
Well, he hasn't, obviously.
A boner?
No. Probably
Ever?
Not. Probably not.
Maybe
he
couldn't-
He has really bland food.
Maybe
of
he
course-
couldn't have a boner.
Oh, maybe.
If I can't have a boner, then no one can have a boner. Everyone else is not allowed to have boners.
Everyone must suffer.
Everyone must suffer
And
because
eat
I
bland
can't,
food
because
and
I
never
can't
have
have
coffee.
Because I can't have a boner.
Correct.
Maybe he would have thought differently in a world where the little blue pill existed. What's that called again?
Viagra?
Viagra.
Right.
It's like Valium, Prozac. No, Viagra.
Alright, let's go on to his masturbation prevention. As a leader of the anti-masturbation movement, Kellogg promoted extreme measures to prevent masturbation. His methods for the rehabilitation of masturbators included measures up to the point of mutilation without anesthetic on both sexes.
hang on.
So this is
What?
where everything so far, I'm like, yeah, Kellogg, yeah, he's alright. And then you get to the whole mutilation.
Hang on. So he's genital mutilation.
Let's read on. He was an advocate of circumcising young boys to curb masturbation and applying carbolic acid to a young woman's clitoris. In his Plain Facts for Old and Young, he wrote, and this is from that, a remedy which is almost always successful in small boys is circumcision, especially when there is any degree of phimosis. What's phimosis with
I'm not
PH?
sure.
Should I click on
Click
that?
on it. What is phimosis?
Phimosis. So that's Phimosis. Phimosis is a condition in which the foreskin of the penis cannot be pulled back past the glans.
Okay, so when you have a non-circumcised penis.
Yeah.
You should be able to pull it
back, but you can't.
But you
sometimes, and that is medical reason to have a circumcision.
Well, that makes sense.
Because you haven't got enough, because there's too much skin and you can't pull it back.
Yes, therefore you can't clean it, and you run the risk of getting urinary tract infections. That makes sense.
Alright, so that does make sense. The operation should be performed by a surgeon without administering an anaesthetic, as the brief pain attending the operation will have a salutary effect upon the mind, especially if it be connected with the idea of punishment, as it may well be in some cases. The soreness, which continues for several weeks, interrupts the practice, and if it had not previously become too firmly fixed, it may be forgotten and not resumed. Further, a method of treatment to prevent masturbation, and we have employed it with entire satisfaction. It consists in the application of one or more silver sutures in such a way as to prevent erection.
Oh, what?
The prepuce or foreskin is drawn forward over the glands, and the needle to which the wire is attached is passed from one side to the other. Ooh. After drawing the wire through, the ends are twisted together and cut off close. It is now impossible for an erection to occur, and the slight irritation thus produced acts as a most powerful means of overcoming the disposition to resort to the practice. And in females, the author has found the application of pure carbolic acid to the clitoris an excellent means of allaying the abnormal excitement. He also recommended, to prevent children from this solitary vice, bandaging or tying their hands, I have heard of that, covering their genitals with patent cages and electrical shock. In his Lady's Guide in Health and Disease for Nymphomania, he recommended cool sitz baths. What's a sitz? S-I-T-Z.
I mean, like salsa?
Maybe. There's no link to that. Can you look up sitz?
What's it? How do you spell it?
S-I-T-Z.
S-I-T-Z.
The cool enema. A spare diet, of course, diet. The application of blisters and other irritants to the sensitive parts of the sexual organs, and the removal of the clitoris and nymphae.
So a sitz bath or a hip bath is a bath in which a person sits in water up to the hips. It is used to relieve discomfort or pain in the lower part of the body, for example, hemorrhoids, anal fissures, perianal fistulas, rectal surgery, and episiostomy, uterine cramps, IBD, perineal cysts, and infections of the bladder, prostate, or vagina.
I have those baths. They don't help me.
It works by keeping the affected area clean and increasing the blood flow.
How would that stop from wanting to masturbate?
Well, if the whole area was, maybe it has a numbing effect, or maybe
it does say cool.
Yeah, it would have a numbing effect, I suppose.
Yeah.
But, so, I don't really have an opinion about circumcisions that happen today. I don't really have an opinion about it.
I do.
But I suppose if I had to think about it on an equal view between penises and vaginas, it would have to be on the same level as genital mutilation. And in that case, it shouldn't be done. No, it should, unless there is a medical reason to do it, as in not being able to pull full skin back to be able to clean it effectively. Then there is literally no reason to be doing that. And it should be likened to doing it to female circumcision as well. Yeah. I just don't understand how he could think that all of this was normal, because in reality, what person didn't have sexual urges from a very young age?
Well, maybe he didn't, and it was he was either jealous or well, if I can't get it up, then no one can get it up.
Or maybe it was the opposite. Maybe he just didn't understand what everyone else was going through. Maybe he genuinely thought it was something you could control. Maybe he genuinely thought you can control sexual urges, which, for people who do have them, we know that's not always the case.
Yeah, so later life. Kellogg would live for over 60 years after writing Plain Facts, that book that we got those quotes from. Whether he continued to teach the facts, quotation mark, in it is not quite entirely clear, although it appears from the later books he wrote that he moved away from this subject matter. One source, taking a positive view of his nutritional and anti-smoking work, yeah, I agree with that, his nutritional stuff and anti-smoking stuff, suggests he dropped his obsession with the evils of sex around 1920, which would be consistent with the last edition of Plain Facts being apparently published in 1917, but another highly critical source maintains he never retracted his claims. He did continue to work on healthy eating advice and run the sanitarium, although this was hit by the Great Depression and had to be sold. He ran another institute in Florida which was popular throughout the rest of his life, although it was a distinct step down from his Battle Creek Institute. Race Betterment Foundation. Your face.
God.
Kellogg
He was a massive racist, wasn't he?
Pretty sure. Kellogg was outspoken on his beliefs on race and segregation, though he himself raised several black foster children. In 1906, together with Irving Fisher and Charles Davenport, Kellogg founded the Race Betterment Foundation, which became a major center of the new eugenics movement in America.
Oh dear.
Kellogg was in favor of racial segregation and believed that immigrants and non-whites would damage the gene pool.
Oh my God.
Oh, Kellogg.
I don't like him.
Relationship.
He's an anti-sex eugenicist.
Yep. Relationship with W.K. Kellogg, so his brother. Kellogg had a long personal and business split with his brother after fighting in court for the rights to cereal recipes. The Foundation for Economic Education records that the nonagenarian J.H. Kellogg, so once John Harvey Kellogg was in his 90s, prepared a letter seeking to reopen the relationship. His secretary decided her employer had demeaned himself in it and refused to send it. The younger Kellogg did not see it until after his brother's death. Wow, there you go. And then it's got a list of his selected publications, including the good old Plain Facts for Old and Young, starting from first published in 1877. Do you want me to read the quote from that?
Sure.
So, in quotes, self-abuse. After having duly considered the causes and effects of this terrible evil, the question next in order for consideration is, how shall it be cured? When a person has, through ignorance or weakness, brought upon himself the terrible effects described, how shall he find relief from his ills, if restoration is possible? To the answer of these inquiries, most of the remaining pages of this work will be devoted. But before entering upon a description of methods of cure, a brief consideration of the subject of prevention of the habit will be in order.
Sounds so methodical.
Yeah.
So like the whole tying up kids' hands or putting mittens on them or something.
And the cold cage thing.
Yeah, no, but that whole mittens thing just reminds me of in Melbourne. We have the Melbourne Museum. There's a section about psychology and psychological history, and in that it shows some devices that they used to use in psychiatric hospitals.
Yeah, that's right. That is at the museum.
Yeah, and they have like anti-masturbation gloves.
Yes.
That's a thing.
Yeah, that's from that.
Yeah, anti-masturbation gloves, because apparently they didn't know how to stop people from undergoing psychosis, would make them involuntarily masturbate.
Yeah, I mean that still happens now.
It does, but they don't put gloves on them.
No, they just sedate them with drugs.
I mean,
other publications include 1888's Treatment for Self-Abuse and Its Effects, 1893 Ladies' Guide in Health and Disease. I'd be interested to have a look at that one, actually.
The Ladies' Guide.
Ladies' Guide in Health and Disease. 1880, 1886, 1899, The Home Handbook of Domestic Hygiene and Rational Medicine. 1903, Rational Hydrotherapy. 1910, Light Therapeutics. 1914, Needed, A New Human Race. Official Proceedings, Volume 1, Proceedings of the First National Conference on Race Betterment, Battle Creek, Michigan. Race Betterment Foundation.
Needed. A better human race?
Yeah, a new human race. Yeah. 1915, Health and Efficiency. 1915, the Eugenics Registry.
Oh, no!
Yeah. 1918, The Itinerary of a Breakfast.
That sounds like a silly book. The Itinerary of a Breakfast.
1922, auto-intoxication or intestinal toxemia. 1923, tobaccoism or how tobacco kills. 1927, New Dietetics, a guide to scientific feeding in health and disease. 1929, Art of Massage, a practical manual for the nurse, the student, and the practitioner. See also links to eugenics in the United States.
See, the thing that annoys me a little bit about this article is that it shows a lot about what he did as a doctor, right? It skims across his eugenics.
It does, doesn't it?
There's like one little bit about it at the very, very end. He probably was a massive eugenicist.
Yeah.
And it's not mentioned. There's some weird editing going on in your Wikipedia articles.
Yeah, I agree. It's not...
There's like nothing in it other than a passing comment at the end. And then go back, although he fostered some black children. Like, as if that makes it better.
Yeah, the Wikipedia is totally meant to be, like, completely...
Impartial.
Impartial, that's what
Does it have a warning at the top of the page?
No.
Because some articles that are that are either like they're current affairs articles or they're articles that have been shown to have a lot of infighting in the article will sometimes have a warning at the top of the page.
No, it does seem pretty tame considering all the stuff that we've heard about and read about. Kellogg, it's including the part where it says, although he did adopt,
foster some black children. It's like as if that makes it any better.
Yeah,
it doesn't make it any better.
It does seem less impartial and more on like, hey, Kellogg was just a good guy with some weird beliefs. But there's definitely, pardon me, lots of links to further reading that you can do for yourself.
But then again, I do like how they go that he was an anti-masturbation, but that wasn't unorthodox for his time, which kind of puts it in context. Because in reality, that probably was quite common back then.
Yeah, being anti-masturbation.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course it was. Like, I know that people were sent to, like, lunatic asylums for being caught masturbating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank God we're not in that time line anymore.
You just need a more bland diet.
Oh, stop it.
Feeding you too well.
I like my feeding and I like my masturbation. All the rest of you look kind of fuck off.
So yeah, I don't know if it wasn't super dark. A little creepy though.
Maybe a little creepy.
Like,
maybe just
by eating Kellogg's cornflakes, are we in turn like being like racism's okay? Or?
Well, Kellogg himself isn't alive anymore.
I know, but
you'd have to see where the money from Kellogg's cereal goes.
Yeah,
that's the true way.
It's business, like.
I don't know.
Are we then giving money to a business founded on racist beliefs?
It wasn't the cereal wasn't found to be. The cereal wasn't made for only white people.
Well,
like, I mean, it might have been, but it wasn't made to say the awesome white people eat this type. It wasn't made for that reason. It was made to be bland so that you don't masturbate. That's why it was made.
Yeah, I know.
So give to your young boys so they don't do their solitary vice.
Yeah, their self-abuse. So, alrighty, on that note, so that... Sorry it wasn't super dark.
It was messed up. Let's call it...
It's pretty messed
dark
up.
And messed up things.
And that's a pretty, messed up racist cereal making.
Racist cereal making asshole.
Things. And anti-caffeine, fuck.
And who the fuck is gonna put yogurt up their butt?
Yeah, like
what the hell?
Like, some of the things I agree with.
I'm gonna stick some Yoplait up my ass.
Some of them I do not. Interesting though.
I'm totally gonna stick some Yoplait up my ass. Pardon me while I go stick up some Yalna up my butt.
Go have your enema and some Yoplait. Thanks again.
I want the strawberry flavored Yalna up my bum. Thanks. Maybe mango next week.
Alright, on that note. That's been Dark and Creepy Things. Another big thank you to our ongoing patrons. Bitten by the Bug.
Thanks, Mom.
Francis.
And Maya
Myers/H-Bomb. Alrighty then.
Alrighty then.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.